Have you ever noticed how the first 30 seconds of a conversation can feel easy, and then suddenly you hit that quiet moment where your brain goes, okay, now what? What's strange is that the problem is rarely a lack of topics. It's that you do not have a map for what topics naturally do next. Because once a conversation starts, it does something very specific. It expands and it narrows, like a camera zooming out and then zooming in. If you understand that zoom, you stop feeling like you have to perform. You just follow the shape of the topic. Let's break it down into 4 phases. Phase 1 is the surface orbit. This is the part everyone recognizes. You are talking about the shared context, where you are, what just happened, what the day has been like. It feels safe, but it also feels like it could run out fast. Here's the interesting part. The surface orbit is not supposed to last. It is just a launch pad. Think of it like a warm cup of water you use to dissolve something. You are not drinking the cup. You are trying to get a real thread to dissolve into it. So instead of hunting for a brand new topic, you look for the small detail that has energy. A word they emphasize, a complaint with a little humor, a specific noun. If they say, it's been a busy week, the detail is not the word busy. The detail is busy with what? Phase 2 is the thread pull. This is where most people accidentally turn into interviewers. They start firing questions, not because they are curious, but because they are trying to prevent silence. And the other person can feel that. The alternative is gentler. You pull the thread with a guess or an invitation, not a probe. For example, busy week.
That sounds like meetings busy, or deadlines busy, or what was the main thing taking up your brain space? Notice how that does not demand a specific fact. It gives them room to choose a direction. This is also where listening becomes the quiet superpower. Most people think keeping a conversation going means saying more, but often it means making the other person feel more heard. Attention is like a spotlight. When you hold it steady, people naturally step into it. They elaborate, they connect dots, they relax. Phase 3 is the widen and narrow loop. Conversations do not move in a straight line, they breathe. You widen for options, then narrow for depth. Widening sounds like, how did you get into that? Or, what's that like day to day? Narrowing sounds like, what part of it do you actually enjoy? Or, what was the hardest moment this week? Imagine someone says they started running. Widening is exploring the space. Training, routes, motivation, injuries, goals. Narrowing is choosing one door. What made you start specifically? Then you sit there long enough for a real story to show up. The key is that you are not collecting facts. You are building a shared thread, the thing you are both thinking about at the same time. A thread can be surprisingly ordinary. It can be trying to stay consistent or finding a job that does not drain you. Once you name the thread, the conversation stops feeling random. Phase 4 is handling the short answer without panic. Have you ever asked something that should have worked and you get, yeah, or not really, and then silence? What most people miss is that short answers are often not rejection. They are often low traction. The question did not give them anything interesting to grab, or they are still warming up.
So you do something simple. You either soften the question or you offer a small piece of yourself as a handle. Softening sounds like, no worries. What's been the most normal part of your week then? Offering a handle sounds like, I had one of those weeks where everything looked fine on paper, but my brain felt noisy. Does that ever happen to you? That is not oversharing. It is giving the conversation a surface to stick to. And about silence, you do not have to fill every gap. A brief pause can be a signal that something is forming. If you stay calm, the other person often continues on their own. Because your quiet is not abandonment. It is permission. So the model is simple. Surface orbit, thread pull, widen and narrow, and calm around short answers and pauses. Conversation is less like juggling and more like gently steering a flashlight through a room until you both notice the same object. And once you see that, you start wondering, how many awkward moments were actually just moments where nobody held the spotlight long enough? If you enjoy understanding how everyday social moments work, subscribe and tell me what conversation situation you want to decode next.